Hello everyone and welcome to Yoshi 1 Kenobi's Mavinda Orvar deck, the dynamic duo that loves to see targeting cheap instants and sorcery spells come into play. So Mavinda, it's a 2/3 flying for 3, and you can pay 0 to target an instant or sorcery from a graveyard that targets a creature you control, and you may cast it this turn. You can also flash back non-targeting spells, but they cost 8 more to be cast that way, making them almost uncastable. Still, it's a possibility, but not in this deck. In this deck, all of our instants and sorceries target, so we get to flash them back for free, well, just paying their mana cost normally. So, another card which really likes targeting spells, Orvar the All-4. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery that targets one or more permanent we control, we create a token that's a copy of that permanent, or those permanents if it targets multiple. And the other effect we don't really care about. So basically we're playing Mavinda, which allows us to reuse targeted spells, Orvar, which allows us to copy creatures, or permanents, in this case creatures, that we target with these spells. So then we need a bunch of targeting spells. In Selesnya colors we have Defiant Strike, which allows you to draw cards. It's a cantrip that targets a creature. Charge, there's also a cantrip that gives trample until end of turn. So you have at least 8 copies of spells that replace themselves that can be reused for Mavinda and Orvar's ability. Then we're playing 2 copies of Guiding Voice because it's a cheap targeting spells that allows you to find another targeting spell from your sideboard, which I should be showing here, mostly expanded anatomy, but the rest of the cards are also there for versatility. We're playing 4 copies of Snakeskin Veil because we can flashback protection at instant speed with Mavinda, protect our big creatures, copy our small creatures, but +1/+1 counters, just all the good stuff. We're also playing 2 Vastwood Fortification and 2 Sejiri Shelters as their multifacets lands, or instants and sorceries that have valid effects and that we can play as lands and thin out our land count and still have access to those. You know the drill, they're awesome. And next is the lineup of creatures that we actually want to copy. And that becomes a bit of a harder selection. I went with Dragon's Guard Elite, Clarion Spirit, and Leonin Lightscribe because they benefit a lot from having access to a bunch of reusable 1-mana spells. Dragon's Guard Elite can grow very big. Leonin Lightscribe can grow your team very big. Also, when we have copies of Leonin Lightscribe, we're getting a bunch of creatures that pump all the creatures whenever you cast instants and sorcery spells. So as you grow your army of cat clerics, you also grow the size of your army of cat clerics, and then your opponent just falls under the immense pressure. Also, Clarion Spirit, making spirit tokens. As you copy your Clarion Spirit, you get more tokens, so just awesomeness. An Elite Spellbinder allows us to do some pretty fun stuff with Orvar, because we can target it at the start of our opponent's upkeep, make a copy, and basically get a pseudo Thoughtseize during our opponent's draw step, which is pretty nice. So with that, we have the Mavinda Orvar shell, and let's see it in action with some games, and it does some really, really cool stuff, and plays out some very nice games. Let's see it in action right now. We are playing Mavinda Orvar on MTG Arena Standard against Makalane. Or McLean. Alright, we can keep this. Especially since we're going first. Scry Orvar. Alright. The dynamic duo. Orvar and Mavinda. Let's keep on scrying. No, we have enough of them land. For now, at least. Especially since all of these are green. I'll probably have to play the Vastwood Fortification as an actual land next turn. Which will delay our Mavinda. Actually, maybe we run out Orvar first. Or Mavinda and hold up Snakeskin Veil. It's probably more reasonable. Clarion Spirit. think it's worth running the Orvar here. Because then next turn we get to Clarion Spirit. Crash shooting Clarion Spirit. Make a copy. And then things get just crazy. Speaking of crazy things, opponent now has a Felidar Retreat. So your lands are now super strong, and my targeting spells are now very strong. As valuable as Innkeeper is, it's just not worth what I'm about to do with Orvar. Oh, and a Defiant Strike too. Fortunately, it wouldn't be the second spell this turn, but it's still a targeted spell, so it would clone Clarion Spirit. So you have a free attack here, might as well take it. And end the turn. Then next turn we get Mavinda, Defiant Strike. Triggers all the Clarion Spirits. If you think Felidar Retreat can produce tokens, you haven't seen Mavinda Orvar Clarion Spirit in action yet. I've seen Orvar in action. Sure, you can kill one. You know, there are just so many of them. Fine, strike the spirit, and I'll chump one of them, because that's starting to be a lot of damage. Could trade. I think we can chump for days afterwards. Alright, another untapped land. Fantastic. Split on white, 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 blue for Mavinda. Spell number 1. We will bring back the Defiant Strike. And we'll cast that. Clarion Spirits, actual spirit tokens, and that's gonna be all for now. Opponent's trying to match our Clarions with their own Clarion Spirit, and is doing a fairly good job at it with the Felidar Retreat. Make a token boost the team, or just double boost the team? Boost the team. Giant Killer. As a 1-1? One's trying to go wide on us. Alright, big Bone Crusher Giant. Now you need to be careful because the opponent can put a +1/+1 counter on anything. Well, everything is going to grow by 1. They all have Vigilance. I will be chumping the Giant, chumping the Aspirant. And I think we just take the rest of the damage. So now we're in Bone Crusher death territory. Well, let's make another Clarion Spirit. Turn passes back. A Sejiri Shelter. Alright, so now we want to play 2 spells per turn. want another green source so that we can activate Mavinda on the charge there. Cast the charge through, giving trample to our favorite Clarion Spirit token. Another Orvar is not what we're looking for. That's okay. So now I get a Sejiri Shelter on that same Clarion Spirit, making a whole bunch of cheap flyers and protection from... Ooh, the opponent has way too much stuff. We can't attack. So just... there's nothing with reach. There's a 1-1 flyer. So I guess we'll go through with Mavinda. The opponent still has one tick of the Fabled Passage. That's okay. Can just make the Spirit a 2/2. Alright, I'll pass the turn back. Opponent cracks the passage. Forest, grow the team. Oh no, make a cat. Alright. Opponent's trying to go wider than their super duper wide strategy. Cast a Giant Killer for 1. Draws a card. Grows everything. Still have a Snakeskin Veil and a Sejiri Shelter in the graveyard. All in. Which vigilance? Alright, well. Let's make you a 4/4 hexproof. 4 of our triggers. I think we want to make it block the Clarion Spirit. Bring back the Sejiri Shelter. Oh no, we can't... Yeah, the opponent doesn't have any land trickery. So I'll just give you pro white. And make a bunch of flying tokens. Alright, and now we block. One tap Orvar. That doesn't really do anything. You block there. Oops, no, that just jumps. Did we block everything? Yes, we did. So now I guess we go for kill blocks. A flyer. The token. And a little bit of safety. Everything is still blocked. We are keeping all our Clarion Spirit and we're killing 3 creatures. Seems good. As long as there's no Embercleave. Opponent's choosing how to assign the blocks. Havoc happens. Find a backup Mavinda. Let's go for the temple. We don't want more Mavindas. Now, do we have an attack? We can probably attack with all our flyers. One doesn't have blockers for that. Can attack with Orvar. And the opponent can only kill 3 Clarion Spirits. But the attack in the air is 6. They're just going to be mass jumping next turn. We need 4 for Orvar, green for Snakeskin Veil. That'll do. Hit you with these. The Orvar is just throwaway, because we need to cast 2 spells this turn. Now I keep the green sources open. Orvar, come on in. Mavinda will flash back a Snakeskin Veil. Right, opponent kills a giant Clarion Spirit. But that's okay, we have backups. Opponent's still trying to go wider than our wide strategy. But without anything that blocks flyers, should be able to have lethal off of the spirits. Fabled passages. Keep drawing everything. Give him vigilance. Ooh, there's the flyer blocker. Should have kept that for me in phase 2. Although the giant killer is, there's 1 tick of giant killer available. So you have 11 flyers. Opponent only has 1, 2 blocking abilities, and you have a Snakeskin Veil in the graveyard. So now I think is the time. Actually, we should just block to kill the giant killers. They'll essentially disable an attacker from our a blocker from our opponent's perspective. Also, the Snakeskin Veil can allow us to protect one of the spirits, so I think we just have a lethal counterattack here. Orvar provides a token, Mavinda provides the fuel. And you get epicness. As long as the opponent doesn't have a Bone Crusher Giant to my face. That would be an anticlimactic ending. Guiding Voice. Pretty sure I don't need it. There is no problem with overkilling. Opponent does have some mana up. Yeah, well, I'm going going for the win this turn. Let's keep our green mana as much as possible. Spread the damage around. Go to combat. And finish them off. Mavinda will protect our flyer. And we win in the air. Beating the Go White deck at its own land. And that's how you do it. Using Mavinda Orvar. The Tandem of Doom that keeps on producing more and more. We are playing Mavinda Orvar on MTG Arena Standard against Leandro Senna. Alright, we have all the colors we want, Dragon's Guard Elite and a bunch of spells. That is enough for me to keep. Question is, do we want Dragon's Guard Elite on turn 2 or 3? This will go on white. Which means I should be playing green first. We'll just pass the turn back. We are in no rush here. Let's see what our opponent does. Plays a land. Attacks us with a 1/1. I'll take it. Alright. Nothing on 2. That's good. This will probably go on white. Blue. Or this can go on blue. Don't really have anything for white yet. Let's just put out the Dragon's Guard Elite and pass the turn back. There are only a few ways that mono green can get rid of that. Though the opponent could be playing Gruul. In which case there's plenty of ways to get rid of it. And that's why you hold the mountain. Alright, opponent plays Lovestruck Beast. Which is gonna play in our favor. Play this on green. Hold up the Snakeskin Veil. We don't have a nice block for the Lovestruck Beast, but if the opponent tries to remove the Dragon's Guard Elite, we can have a pretty good blowout. Well, that's what Snakeskin Veil is there for. Probably want to cast at least one charge through. Innkeeper. One of the scariest 1-drops in the game. Magda, that's alright. Do you dare to attack? No, opponent doesn't attack. Only cast a charge through, draw a card. Put a counter on our Dragon's Guard Elite. Alright, I think now we have to play one of our Scry lands. Which means next turn we get Orvar charged through. Or we just cast Orvar this turn. Let's go Orvar this turn. Let's just go all in. And pass the turn. Scariest thing our opponent can do is attack Embercleave, the Lovestruck Beast. Which would put us in a hard spot to block. Goldspan Dragons, not so bad. Especially if the opponent doesn't attack the Lovestruck Beast. I can't afford losing Dragon's Guard Elite here. But the Goldspan Dragon is a big problem. We could use another green source. Let's see what's on top of our deck. Lightscribe. You can charge through Lightscribe and Snakeskin Veil the Lightscribe. And then when we Snakeskin Veil Lightscribe next turn, we give +2/+2. Yeah, I think that's what we want. Charge through the Dragon's Guard Elite. Draw a card, mid another Dragon's Guard Elite. Play Lightscribe. I don't see a reason not to attack with these two. One's down at 10. You're dead to Embercleave, but we were dead to Embercleave anyways. I think we'll be forced to chump block Lovestruck Beast though. We could trade if we use a Snakeskin Veil on the Dragon's Guard Elite. We'll do the safer block. Snakeskin Veil, the Lightscribe, make a copy, triggers. What do you take for? Magda's gone, but the opponent has a ton of mana. Alright. How much more do you have, opponent? That is my question. Shatter Skull Smashing. Okay. And a Sentinel. Well, I'm gonna get a Scry. Spellbinder is not helpful. We need another instant or sorcery. Now, if we attack, the opponent's forced to block. Yeah, alright. Yeah, let's attack. We'll force at least one block. Probably two. Then we pass the turn back. You're dead to a shock effect. If the opponent attacks with everything, then all the triggers from Lightscribe are going to allow us to have a good block, and a very good block. Fortunately, we don't have enough on the counter swing unless we top deck an instant. Ooh, we simply don't have enough. Or do we? Guiding Voice. Could exile one of our opponent's creatures, but then they would just crew the Chariot. We could also exile the Goldspan Dragon, giving our opponent another card. Or we just make a little flyer. Well, let's see what's on top of our deck. Oh yes, I'm still here. Alright. Let's see what's on top of our deck. start with that as we ponder through. Alright, we don't know what's on top of our deck. We are definitely going to be playing this. Because it turns all our Lightscribes into monstrous monsters. And now, what do we do? I think we Inkling Summoning. But all creatures are not quite lethal. The other option is we do basic Conjuration and hope to find something that can block. Introduction to Annihilation. It's not enough, because the opponent can keep one creature back. This is a hard one. I think I have to go basic Conjuration. Try to find another creature. And of course with the life gain. We'll slightly survive Goldspan Dragon. Opponent goes down at 2. And as long as the opponent doesn't top deck a creature or burn spell, well, basically, as long as our opponent top decks a land, we will barely win this game by the skin of our teeth. I think we got it. Thank you, life gain from basic Conjuration. I never thought that I'd be winning a game off of the 3 lives. And finding the creature as the extra blocker. That's what the timer is for, just properly thinking things through. The opponent crewed with the dragon. No, it still doesn't work. Whew! We barely got that one with the skin of our teeth with the guiding voice top deck of the century. And Orvar doing some nice work. We are playing Mavinda Orvar on MTG Arena Standard. Their opponent Leandro Senna. Won't know what hit him. Alright. Let's keep this hand. Seems quite decent. A little bit too Lightscribe-y. We don't need a third one. One's hunting for specimens. We have specimens. We have specimens. We don't need more blue, so this will be the sure green. Let's go Dragon's Guard Elite first. It got eliminated. Opponent seems to be on mono black. Need a bit more white. Let's see what you've got. Which Heartless Act? Plump and Pest Summoning. The witches are problematic. Opponent's on 3. I think I want to deny the... I don't know. Plump, probably. Alright, here comes the witch. Find a Dragon's Guard Elite. Crash Juice instant, so Dragon's Guard Elite's a fairly good card to have on defense here. Well, if we Guiding Voice the Spellbinder, the opponent can't Heartless Act either of our creature. Let's do that. Now what do we want? Opponent's putting a bunch of small critters on the battlefield. About to draw a ton of cards. I think it's Expanded Anatomy, especially since we have the flyer. Unfortunately, a level short on lands, which prevents us from putting Orvar up to the battlefield. Also, with our opponent holding up the Heartless Act, it would be fairly difficult to do. With attacks with the Witch, we cannot block. This will go to white as well. Alright, what are our options here? Lightscribe, Lightscribe. It's one of them. Opponent with a Heartless Act. The opponent also has a very favorable Plumb the Forbidden available. So I think we want to attack with everything. We could also Lightscribe charge through, or just go Expended Anatomy on the Spellbinder, and then attack with Dragon's Guard Elite, making sure that opponent has a little bit fewer threats. Opponent can't deal with the Spellbinder, that becomes a 6-powered creature, trample on Dragon's Guard Elite. And I think that puts a 2-turn clock on our opponent, unless the opponent blocks well. But the opponent's likely to chum block Dragon's Guard Elite. So they crash through. This is going to put a significant clock. Alright, I forgot about the 2 points of life gain. So maybe it's not a 2-turn clock. Let's tell. We've gotten rid of the creature, which would be fodder for the Plumb the Forbidden. You can still Heartless Act remove counters. And at some point we'll have to be careful about our life total. Sejiri Shelter. I think that's just game. These are green-black. This is a convenient top deck. Protection from black it is. Also hexproof. Alright. And we got through with just +1/+1 countering a Dragon's Guard Elite and Elite Spellbinder, which is just good enough to beat our mono black witch opponent. We're playing Mavinda Orvar on MTG Arena Standard against B Ring 0. Or 0 bearings. Well, in either case, we're hoping to get you lost in a sea of creatures. Might as well keep this hand. It's not the best, especially not against a Yorion deck. But you gotta play the card that you're dealt with. Or ask for a mulligan, but you lose a card. Nobody likes losing a card. Hard decision for opponent who decides to mulligan a 6. This goes to the bottom. 4 lands is plenty. Lovestrike Beast. Lovestrike Beast in Yorion. That's different. Crash Through's pretty much what I was looking for. Something that gives hexproof would be slightly better, I guess. Nothing from our opponent, signals a Bone Crusher Giant. So we will hold back the Lightscribe. Spellbinder is good. Bone Crusher goes to our face. Which is where we want the Bone Crusher Giants to go. Still just the one. And here comes Love Strike Beast, the heavy artillery. Oh, we also have our own heavy artillery in the form of Orvar. Let's put one into play. Alright, great hinge against Orvar. Let's get the festivities started. Lightscribes. Lightscribe, Spellbinder. So we can go Spellbinder Madness. Which, considering our opponent has a great hinge, is probably a good idea. Or we can just try to beat them down with a ton of Lightscribes. Which again seems like a fine plan. Or we can also go Lightscribe. Well, let's open up Spellbinder. I think the Spellbinder plan is slightly more sound. So that's typically not the deck that can deal with flyers very well. All lands. Interesting. Well then. Let's hit you with Orvar. You can also pseudo Tottsies at instant speed using Crash True on the Spellbinder. Although a ton of Lightscribe is going to be hard to deal with. Let's go with the Tottsies. You may draw. Assuming you'll go Bone Crusher Giant first. I'll let that resolve. Let me draw a card. Ah. Should have held full control. Before combat, I'm gonna make another Spellbinder. And no Bali get recovery for you. Though it's more expensive. Although we do have to be careful not to die. You're not a 6. What we need is an instant or a sorcery. Snakeskin Veil. Okay. Let's see what else is coming. Spirit won't do it. Go Lightscribe. Lightscribe. Pummel you with the Spellbinders. Pass the turn. I think I want to go for the blocking scenario here. Snakeskin Veil, the Lightscribe. Tons of triggers. And now we block. Opponent's gonna Yori on in response. Do we want to keep Orvar? No, we have a backup Orvar. What am I saying? We want to protect our life total. One mana, one blue, draw a card, have a wall that mills your opponent. Seems like a good deal. I really would have liked these. Probably good. Alright, you can kill a Lightscribe. Redraw land. Land's not good. I'll go for Orvar. Threaten you with everything. Odds are you'll block Lightscribe with a crab, but there's a chance you won't. Okay. We got a 1-1 for it. It's hard to beat a Great Henge. We really need to top deck an instant or sorcery, or even better if we could top deck Mavinda. Ayasha. Alright, all your creatures are now forests. That's kind of cool. So when you flicker your creatures, they come back as forests, which means you're going to mill me for a ton. This is probably going to cost me the game. Yeah, Dragon Guard Elite's no good. Don't have an attack. This thing doesn't have trample at the very least. The opponent's already up to 18. That's a lot. 3 Dragon Guard Elite. I think this is close to the point where we resign. Had a very close window where we needed to chain a handful of spells. Now I need some very, very specific draws. That includes chaining a lot of spells together. Yeah, like that would have been perfect. Defiant Strike, Defiant Strike. Then Mavinda, something like that. We need to jump. We need a ton of Lightscribes. That'll do it. Good game, opponent. Good game. We are playing Mavinda Orvar on MTG Arena Standard against Seahoff. A little sketchy, but we're on the draw, so we'll keep it. We go white-green. Opponent hunts for some specimens. So we play the Summoner of Spirits. Opponent kills it, threatening to take our Guiding the Light. I would play Lightscribe anyways. Otherwise we'd be increasing the strength of our opponent. We don't really want to do that. I'd rather lose the card than pump up an opponent's pest. These might go. Mono black control pests. Okay. It's a mono black control list. There's the land we were looking for. I'm really looking for instants and sorceries at this point. So we'll go with a second Lightscribe and hit our opponent with all we've got. Solemn Simulacrum. Or 5-6. Opponent's still a little bit away from Ugin. So I go Orvar, and has a turn back. Could have attacked before casting Orvar and see if the opponent is afraid of blocking with a Simulacrum, but there's no cost in blocking with a sad robot that likes to draw cards when it dies. Maybe the opponent just wanted to draw a card and don't really want to sacrifice a Lightscribe for that test. Simply not worth it. Shadow's Verdict gets rid of most stuff, sadly. Defiant Strike was exactly what we were looking for. Because now we can Spellbind. Goodbye, Ugin.
My research has concluded.
Hit you with Orvar, he'll block with a Simulacrum. Which is fine. Put a stop. Let you draw. You may draw. Then I'm going to pump up my Spellbinder. And Thoughtseize you. Oh, pseudo Thoughtseize. Result. Oh. Expensive Maze Mind Tome? Because why not? More 5, 6, 7, 8. More Maze Mind Domeness. Alright. We don't have many choices here. Clearly continue with our Mavinda plan.
Hello there. I shall teach you much.
Let's go Plains. Swing for 9. You may draw. And again, same thing. Thoughtseize Mavinda will bring back Defiant Strike from the depths of our graveyard. Take another Spellbinder. The Shadow's Verdict's gonna cost you. Unfortunately, the opponent does have enough mana to cast it. That takes care of most of our attack force. So the opponent has a bunch of life to gain from the Maze Mind Tomes. Oh, let's play another Mavinda. Attack you with Orvar. Unstrike Orvar to draw the card. It's not glorious. But deals some damage, draws some cards. Allows us to do more Mavinda stuff. As we are inching closer to defeat time. Our defeat when the opponent Ugins us. They still need 2 lands. Or to just naturally draw the Ugin. I mean, whatever is your favorite option. Alright, well. Let's draw a card. Probably scoop afterwards. And I can use this trick to put Mavinda in the graveyard. It's completely irrelevant to the deck, but just wanted to show off. Alright. I think I need to draw a Dragon's Garly, but no, it doesn't help. So I'm just gonna get plussed by that Spirit Dragon. Okay. Top decking a Snakeskin Veil? It's a thing. It's gonna protect me from that Ugin. One's just short of casting that. Ultimate defense.
Ghost fire, my greatest creation.
Well, the 1/1 critter is going to be in our way. Still can't target Orvar now. But protecting Ugin's probably going to be good enough. These tomes are just so much value. This is a Spirit Dragon. Alright. I believe now is the time where we resign. Good game, opponent. Good game. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. It won't cost you any mana, and it greatly helps to support this channel and keep the awesome videos coming. Until next time, may the fun be with you.